What if I told you the secret to getting everything you want, like the money, the success, that perfect job? What if it wasn't about chasing harder, but just feeling it?
Imagine your bank account reflecting abundance, not because you worked 80 hours this week, but because something shifted inside you first.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something powerful, aren't we?
We are. It's a principle that, well, a lot of metaphysical teachers talk about, but maybe gets overlooked sometimes. It flips the script on how we usually think about achieving things.
Right. The idea that our inner state, how we feel, actually creates our outer reality. Especially for tangible stuff. Money, jobs.
Exactly. And this isn't just, thinking happy thoughts and hoping for the best. It's deeper. It's about understanding the connection between your consciousness, your feeling state, and what shows up in your life.
Okay, let's break that down, because so many people are doing the visualizations, the affirmations, working really hard.
And getting frustrated because things aren't changing fast enough, or at all.
Yeah. And you're saying the missing piece might be the feeling underneath it all. Like, maybe they're affirming abundance, but still feeling lack.
That's often it. I mean, after years of looking into this, it keeps coming back to the same core truth. Feeling is the language the subconscious really gets. It's the signal you're broadcasting 24/7.
So my subconscious isn't really buying my affirmations if I'm feeling anxious about bills while I say them.
It's much harder, yeah. The subconscious tends to accept the dominant feeling as the current reality. So if the feeling is not enough, that's the blueprint it works from.
Wow. Okay, so less hustle, more. Internal cultivation. This idea of assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that's central, right?
That's the heart of it. And it's not about pretending in a fake way. It's about genuinely inhabiting the emotional state of already having what you desire.
Inhabiting it, like moving in emotionally.
Yeah. If you want financial freedom, you move beyond wanting it to actually feeling the relief, the security, the ease of having it now before it shows up outside.
It's like becoming that version of you first.
Precisely. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is largely defined by your dominant feeling state. Feel abundant, and the universe kind of has to meet you there.
So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack how to make that shift from wanting to feeling like it's already done.
That's the plan. We'll look at how to practice it, maybe even focusing intensely for a short period, and what that might feel like, what you might encounter along the way.
Okay, let's start with the why. Why is feeling considered the secret sauce here? More powerful than just thoughts or even actions sometimes.
Well, it can feel a bit backwards at first, can it? We're so action-oriented.
Totally. Just feel rich sounds simplistic, maybe?
It sounds simple, but the mechanism is profound. Think of your subconscious mind as the autopilot system for your life. It runs your perceptions, your habits, your energy.
How people respond to me even.
Absolutely. And crucially, it doesn't really argue or analyze like your conscious mind. It accepts what's impressed upon it, especially when it's done consistently and with strong feeling.
So if I'm consistently feeling worried about money,
it accepts worry as the operating mode. It filters your reality, highlights problems, maybe even subtly guides you toward actions that reinforce scarcity. But if you consistently impress the feeling of abundance,
it takes that as the new operating mode.
That's the principle. It starts to align your perceptions, your intuition, your actions with abundance. You might suddenly notice an opportunity you'd have missed before, or an idea just lands. The outer world starts reflecting the inner shift.
Okay, now you mentioned focusing intensely, like for a few days. 4 days is sometimes mentioned. Why that specific kind of time frame? Does it supercharge it somehow?
A short, focused period, say 3 or 4 days, can be really effective. It lets you build up and maintain a strong feeling of expectancy, like really knowing it's done.
Without falling into that endless waiting game.
Exactly. The longer you're just hoping and waiting, the more room there is for doubt to seep in and just, dilute that feeling. If you truly accept it's already done inside, you naturally shift from hope to expectation. It creates momentum.
Right. Expectation feels different, more solid. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Let's get practical. How do we cultivate that feeling day by day, especially in a focused burst?
It often starts the night before. That state, just as you're drifting off to sleep, the drowsy state, that's prime time for impressing the subconscious.
Because the conscious mind, the doubter, is offline.
Pretty much. The gatekeeper is nodding off. So instead of replaying worries or the day's frustrations,
which is so easy to do.
Oh, it is. But instead, you intentionally step into the feeling of already having it. The money, the success, whatever it is. First, identify the core feeling. Is it relief,
Yeah.
gratitude, freedom, security? What's the dominant feeling of the wish fulfilled?
Okay, got it. Relief, maybe. Like, finally.
Perfect. Then create a very short, simple sensory scene in your mind that implies it's already true. Not a long movie, just a snapshot.
Like seeing the bank balance number or feeling the keys to the new office.
Exactly. Or hearing someone say, congratulations, feel the handshake. The key is, don't just see it. Feel the feeling associated with it. Feel that relief now as if it's happening. Let that feeling wash over you, saturate you as you drift off. That's the inner work.
Powerful. So you plant the seed at night? What about day 2 when you wake up?
Day 2 is about carrying that feeling forward. Aligning with the state you marinated in overnight, those first few moments upon waking are really important.
Before the world rushes in.
Yes. Try to return to that quiet knowing, that feeling of ease or relief you cultivated before sleep. And here's a big one. Resist the urge to immediately check your email or bank account for proof.
The proof-seeking habit. Hard to break.
It is. But the outer world is usually reflecting your past state. It needs a little time to catch up to your new inner state. Remember, the world responds to your dominant identity.
That saying, to him that hath, more shall be given. This saying hath refers to the inner feeling of having.
That's a common interpretation in this context, yes. The person who feels abundant internally seems to attract more abundance externally. So, on day 2, ask yourself, how would the version of me who already has this move through the day?
They probably wouldn't be frantically checking things or feeling desperate.
Probably not. They'd likely operate from trust, maybe a quiet confidence, and expectancy. Your job on day 2 is loyalty to that new inner state, even if the outside hasn't shifted yet.
But what about doubt? It's going to knock, right?
Right.
Especially when the bills still look the same. This isn't working.
Oh, absolutely. Doubt will show up. It feels logical because it's based on current appearances, but here's the crucial distinction. Doubt showing up isn't the issue. Believing the doubt, identifying with it, that's what disrupts the process.
So notice it, but don't engage.
Exactly. Acknowledge it. Okay, there's that old thought pattern, but then gently, firmly, without arguing with it, just return your attention to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It's like training a muscle, or gently guiding a pet back to its spot.
You don't need 100% unwavering belief in your head.
You need to make the feeling feel real, even if just for moments at first. Consistency matters more than intensity. Keep returning to that feeling throughout the day whenever you remember. Those are little deposits in your feeling bank. Maintain loyalty to the new state.
Loyalty to the new state. I like that. Hey, if you're finding this useful, let us know in the comments. What new state are you choosing to be loyal to?
Yeah, share that. Now, day 3. This is often where the rubber meets the road. It can feel like a test.
How so?
The outer world might not just be static, it might even throw you a curveball. An unexpected expense pops up, you hear some disappointing news related to your goal. It seems to directly contradict what you're feeling.
Ugh. Okay, so the instinct is to freak out and say, see, it's not working.
Right. But these are often just echoes of the old state clearing out. They're based on past assumptions. The key on day 3 is, do not react from the old state. Don't identify with the bad news.
Easier said than done.
It takes practice. But remember the principle, circumstances don't matter. Only your state of consciousness does. You have to anchor even deeper into the feeling, the inner knowing, it is already done. This appearance is temporary and based on old news.
So the unexpected bill arrives.
Mm-hmm.
What does the person who already is abundant do?
They don't spiral. They might acknowledge it calmly, maybe even say internally, okay, an old echo, and immediately pivot back to the feeling of ease, security, abundance. They breathe. Maybe they even manage a small smile, knowing it's already handled in the larger scheme. They embody the confidence of someone money flows to easily.
They're being that version of themselves.
Exactly. They might appreciate any small positive signs that show up, but they aren't desperately clinging to them for validation. They trust the unseen process, like a seed growing underground. They shift from asking, where is it, to declaring internally, it's here, it's mine. That's wealth consciousness in action.
Okay, let's circle back to doubt again, because it seems like the biggest hurdle. That feeling of, am I just kidding myself? When things look tough externally.
It feels incredibly real because your senses are reporting the current, old reality. Doubt is essentially your logical mind demanding external proof before it allows the feeling.
But the law works the other way. Feel it first, then see it.
That's the premise. So when doubt says, this feels like pretending, remind yourself. It feels new, not necessarily fake. You're establishing a new emotional home, and unfamiliarity isn't the same as falsehood.
So notice the doubt, name it maybe, but don't get into a debate with it.
Precisely. See it for what it is, the old state's resistance, its last stand perhaps, and then just gently, powerfully return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You choose your state. You don't chase the manifestation, you don't constantly doubt, you dwell in the feeling of the end result.
Dwell there. Let that be your default setting.
Yes, and if you dwell there consistently, the external world eventually has to mirror it. Your inner state is the cause, the world is the effect. Trust the invisible reality you're building within more than the temporary reality your senses show you. Your senses can lag behind.
That's a huge reframe. So living from the end. It's not just a 4-day trick. Day 4 isn't the finish line.
Not at all. Those few focused days are like laying a strong foundation, building momentum, impressing that new state deeply. By day 4, hopefully, that feeling starts to feel a bit more natural, more familiar.
But it's the start of something bigger.
Exactly. It's the beginning of living from that new identity, that new state of consciousness. You continue to inhabit it.
So you don't stop feeling abundant just because the initial intense focus period is over.
Ideally, no. You live from that place. The need to constantly check for external proof starts to fade because you know internally it's done. Abundance, success, whatever it is, starts to feel like your natural state of being.
Like that quote, claim yourself to be that which you desire. Go your way knowing that the evidence must appear.
Something like that.
Yes, that captures it beautifully. You assume the state and then you walk forward in that assumption, trusting that the external manifestation is inevitable. You stop searching after you've done the inner work, and that searching, that's the trap, isn't it? It comes from lack.
It absolutely does. It reinforces the idea that you don't have it yet. Same with constantly asking when or how long will it take?
Because those questions imply separation and delay.
Right. They come from the state of not having. The powerful shift, the real deliverance comes when you move from, I really hope this works soon, to a calm inner certainty. It is mine, it is done, it's already unfolding.
Even if you can't see the unfolding yet.
Especially then. Because the unseen always precedes the seen. Think about it. Everything created starts as an idea, an invisible pattern. If you feel discouraged by delay, remember that seed analogy. Roots grow first, unseen. The process is underway beneath the surface. This law is constant. Your persistent loyalty to the feeling is what matters.
Okay, but what about feeling like you don't deserve it? Past mistakes, feeling unworthy of money or success? That's a big one, too.
It's a massive block for so many people. It feels wrong or even scary to feel abundant if you carry guilt or shame.
How do you work with that?
It's crucial to understand this. Manifestation isn't about being good enough or morally perfect. It's not about earning it in that sense. It's about alignment. You are a creator by nature. Creation responds to your state of consciousness, your alignment with the feeling of your desire, not to your perceived worthiness or past actions.
So you don't have to clear all past karma before you can feel wealthy.
You don't have to wait for external validation or permission. You simply have to assume the state. Part of assuming the feeling of wealth includes allowing yourself to feel deserving of it. Now,
give yourself permission internally.
Yes, before the proof arrives. See yourself, feel yourself as inherently worthy of the good you desire, simply because you exist. Let that feeling of deservingness be part of the wish-fulfilled state you're cultivating. It makes the feeling feel authentic, not like you're stealing something.
Which brings us right back to that core message, doesn't it?
It always comes back to this. Live from the end. Don't just think about the goal. Inhabit the reality of already having achieved it.
How would you walk, talk, make decisions if it were already true?
Exactly. Sleep as that person. Feel as that person. Once that assumption takes root, once that feeling becomes your natural home, the external world has to adjust. It has no choice. Your feeling is the signal, the command.
And using a focused period, like a few days, is just a way to really kickstart that shift, to build that new identity.
It's a powerful catalyst, yes. But the goal is for it to become your new way of being. Moving from chasing and efforting to attracting through your state. Hey, if this deep dive resonated, if you found value, please give us a like. It really helps the channel and lets us know you appreciate this kind of exploration.
So, quick recap. The real power lies in your inner feeling, your dominant state. By assuming the feeling of your wish already being real, using techniques like the night ritual, consistently returning to that feeling, ignoring contrary appearances, you impress your subconscious and essentially command reality to conform.
It's about shifting internally first, whether it's money, a job, anything tangible. The invitation is to feel it as real now.
And here's something to maybe chew on today. If your outer world truly just reflects your inner state, what amazing reality could you create starting right now just by daring to feel differently? By daring to claim what's already yours inside.
We really hope you explore this for yourself. Don't just take our word for it, experiment with the feeling. And definitely subscribe to the channel so you catch our next deep dive into these fascinating topics.
We'd love to hear from you too. Drop a comment below. What feeling state are you choosing to cultivate and live from today?
Thanks so much for tuning in.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.